Justin Fields is a baller. He's a baller. Should he start right away? No, I don't think he should start right away. I think that Andy Dalton should lead the team early on, first 10 games or so, and then bring him in as the season progresses. I think you would do him a disservice to start him right away, but I think he is making it harder and harder for the coaches to keep him on the bench.
Isn't this fascinating? Because usually it is Graziano who is the professional rainer on our parade.
I haven't even said anything yet.
That's correct. And
I don't know where this comes from.
So what? In Chicago, everyone I know there is telling me they got to play the kid, they got to play the kid.
The do him a disservice is part of the calculation, right? The coaching staff does not want to put him in until they're sure he's ready. And the thing everybody has to remember, and here comes the rain, right, is he looks ready when we see him in a preseason game. The coaching staff is evaluating other things, right? How is he on the practice field? How is he in the meeting room? All these kinds of things. And again, I've not been given any reason to understand that he's struggling in those situations. But the fact of the matter is, what we see in televised preseason games is such a small part of the evaluation these coaches go through that I think that's going to be important for people to remember, especially if he keeps looking that good.
Well, I would argue that what we saw in the televised preseason game is just a piece, just a portion, just a snippet of the greatness that they're seeing every single day in practice, right? I live in Chicago, played for the Bears for 4 years. I know the team well and some of the coaches, the staff. They're excited about Justin Fields, as are the fans, which they should be. But what people don't understand is that even if a quarterback may seem ready, if you're a rookie, it's good to just he's got Nick Foles mentoring him. He's got Andy Dalton mentoring him. Take your time. You don't need to rush this thing. Take your time. Be great for the long run, not just for
Nate,
I agree with everything that Acho said, including his analysis up until the point where you said that he shouldn't play. Like the shortcoming of that team is that offensive line. Who is more equipped to help out that offensive line than a quarterback whose running ability will cause the defensive ends to come a little slower? As you know, as a linebacker, you're going to be thinking about that in that situation. So I think I understand what Dan's saying about practice and all that stuff. But one of the problems with practice is I don't think that you get to see Justin Fields fully do all the things that he can do, because we all know in practice what we do to quarterbacks when they start scrambling is we get out of their way and then the play is essentially dead. I think you get something different from Justin Fields on the field in a real live game situation. He can continue to learn, continue to get better. I say put him out there because it's not like Andy Dalton has a long Bears history, and they're like, we owe him this respect. We got to give him the starting job. Andy Dalton was with Dallas last year, not playing well, I might add.
He is everything that Chicago fans have wanted. Chicago has never had a 4,000-yard passer. He is that guy, but.
Well, what's the but?
But.
Wait a minute. Don't give me a but. I'm not interested in but.
But.
What?
He should not start week 1. He should not. Here's why. I want Justin Fields to be good for the next 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. I don't need him to be good for this team right now. I think Andy Dalton can get our team, get Chicago where Chicago needs to go. I think the defense can get Chicago where they need to go for the first few weeks of the season. I think Chicago is going to be better than people give them credit for. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward, you think maybe halfway through the season, after a bye week, maybe after week 10, week 11, you get a couple weeks, Andy Dalton has done what he's done, maybe gives them 7, 8 wins. Then you put in Justin Fields to take your team to the promised land.
Well, here's the thing. Normally, Graziano's role on this show is to rain on the parade of all of the enthusiasm. But in this case, I read your notes, and you said he made watching a preseason game worthwhile.
Which I don't like watching preseason games. But I'm sitting there on Saturday, I'll put this on and see what. I was fired up. Look, I mean, as a reporter, I can tell you what the Bears want to do, which is wait until he's absolutely ready. As a fan who watched, I mean, remember last year, it seemed like the Bears were on primetime games like 5, 6 weeks in a row when Foles was playing, and it was like watching paint dry.
Yes.
And it was like, and to Domonique's point earlier, like when they had to go back to Trubisky because they couldn't protect Foles, and Trubisky's ability to move around was the only chance they had to score. They're going to see something similar to that this year when you have Dalton versus Fields. I just think Fields gives them so much more they can do. I understand the concept of you have to wait till a guy's ready, so you don't want to ruin him, but these guys are readier than you think. I mean, Justin Herbert this time last year, Justin Herbert, the Chargers were saying we're trying to get him up to game speed. We're using a 20-second play clock instead of a 40-second play clock in practice for him because he needs. He was ready week 2. They just didn't know it.
And he was ready week 2 without even being the starter during practice leading up to it. Domonique, sometimes, and I understand what Acho was saying. Yes, the big picture is more important than the little picture. Yes, the next 15 years are more important than the first 3 weeks of the season. But that doesn't have to be an either-or proposition. He might be their best option right now either way. Neek.
What more do you have to show that you're ready? I feel like anyone who like me had children, it's something that you are not ready for until you have it. Like you're not like, oh, now it's time to have children.
Even then.
Like even then you have to figure it out. So I feel like starting a rookie quarterback is the same thing. Like you're never gonna see that guy and be like, oh, now he's ready. He's ready when you put him out there, and he's going to figure out and get ready, and you protect him, and you give him plays and play calls that help him get acclimated. But I don't think that you're ever just going to wake up one morning and be like, oh, today's the day. He's ready now. The game is too fast for these guys, for them just to feel so confident at any moment.
Yeah, well, Nick, and I'm not, and don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that he's not ready to be the starter. What I'm saying is that there's a risk versus reward, right? When you're a rookie, think about your rookie year. I think about my first time playing football in college, right? My coach wanted to redshirt me. He said, man, the game is kind of fast. I'm not sure if you're ready. There were some injuries. They put me in the game. By the grace of God, I played well, had a sack on my first play, but still there were some question marks. So there's a risk versus reward. That's all I'm trying to say.
I had a similar experience as you. Like I was being redshirted, then people got hurt, and neither of us was ready. But you know what? We went out there and we was ready because we were ready. It's the same thing. Put the guys out there. They're football players. Justin Fields will be ready.
I finally figured out the method to the madness. You just snuck that story in there so you could figure out a way to mention you had a sack on your first play in college. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.